Good morning, children. Today, class for 10th class students. Yesterday, we discussed about the digestion process in stomach. Next, after the completion of digestion process in stomach, the chyme will enter into the starting part of the smaller intestine, that is called as nothing but duodenum. What? Duodenum. Okay, here in between the stomach and duodenum part of the smaller intestine, a muscle ring-like structure is present. Imagine like that like a valve. So what is the use of valve? It regulate the flow of water in pipelines. Similarly, the presence of muscular ring-like structure in between the stomach and the duodenum part of the smaller intestine regulate the passage of food material from the stomach to the duodenum part of the smaller intestine. Means this muscle like structure not push the whole food at a time into the smaller intestine. Only at a time it pushes only smaller amount of food should be enter into that duodenum part. So the muscular ring which is present in between the stomach and duodenum part of the smaller intestine is called as a pyloric sphincter. What? Pyloric sphincter. So this pyloric sphincter regulate the passage of food from stomach to the duodenum. So normally the liver and pancreas, these are the two digestive glands. These two glands which liver and pancreas secrete their juices into the duodenum part of the smaller intestine. So the liver secrete a bile juice into the duodenum. What? The liver secrete a bile juice into the duodenum. So normally the bile juice doesn't contain any enzymes. So normally you know that one the juice secreted by the walls of the stomach is called as gastric juice, that contain hydrochloric acid and the enzyme pepsin. But the juice that is secreted by the liver doesn't contain enzymes. Okay, the juice that is secreted by the liver is called as bile juice. So what is the main function of that bile juice? So this bile juice acts upon the fat and fatty materials, means oil like substances, and changes the fat material into that simple glycerol and fatty acids. Means nothing but larger fats are converted into the small oil like droplets by the action of bile juice. Next, pancreas. Pancreas also one type of glands that also secrete pancreatic juice into the duodenum part of the smaller intestine. This pancreatic juice contain 3 enzymes. Okay, pancreatic juice contains how many enzymes? three enzymes. One is amylase, next one is trypsin, the final one is lipase. Okay, what? Three enzymes are present in the pancreatic juice, that are amylase, trypsin and lipase. So what is the function of this amylase? Normally this amylase acts upon the larger carbohydrates and changes them into that maltose, means nothing but simple sugars. Okay, the major function of this amylase enzyme is to convert the complex carbohydrate into that simple glucose form or maltose. Next, trypsin. Same, the enzyme trypsin acts upon the proteins and changes them as peptides. What? Peptide, nothing but simplest form of proteins. Next, the enzyme lipase acts upon the fats and changes into them fatty acids and glycerols. So these are the main functions of the enzymes that are secreted by the pancreas. Next, the food will enter into that further part of the smaller intestine. The wall of the smaller intestine also lined with intestinal glands. Okay, the latter the food will enter into that further part of the smaller intestine. So the wall of the smaller intestine also lined with the intestinal glands. So these intestinal glands secrete two type of enzymes. Okay, intestinal glands secretes how many types of enzymes? Two types of enzymes were secreted by the intestinal glands. One is peptidase, another one is sucrase. This peptidase enzyme acts upon the peptides and convert them into amino acids. Okay, what is the function of this peptidase enzyme? This peptidase enzyme acts upon the peptides and convert them into peptones and amino acids. Next, the enzyme sucrase acts upon the sucrose, nothing but cane sugar, and changes them into simplest form of carbohydrate, glucose or dextrose. So in this way the digestion process is completed in the smaller intestine. Next, after the completion of digestion of food material, the absorption of nutrient would be started in the smaller intestine only. In smaller intestine we observe folded structures called as villi is the plural form or villus is a singular form. Okay, the wall of the smaller intestine has folded like structures that are called as villi. So what is the function of this villi? The villi of the smaller intestine absorbs the nutrients from the small intestine and transport the nutrients into the blood stream. So the major function of this villus part is nothing but absorption of nutrients from the small intestine and transport into the blood stream. So why the villus have so many folded like structures? Because of the presence of finger-like projections or folded structures, the surface area of the small intestine increases. As the surface area is increases, then the absorption of nutrients also increases by the villus. So that's why the villus has so many finger-like projection. Sometimes asking in examination, what is the function of villi or villus? The main function of the villi or villus is absorption of nutrients from the small intestine and transport them into that bloodstream. So in the small intestine, the absorption process is completed. Then the waste food material or unwanted substances are moved to the larger intestine. The primary part of the larger intestine is called as colon. The function of the colon is to absorb or to remove excess water from the undigested material. Okay, sometimes the undigested material contain excess water, so this colon removes the excess water from the undigested material. So the reabsorption of water took place in the larger intestine. Then the undigested material is passed to the rectum part. Finally, from rectum, the undigested material is passed to the anus into the external environment. So the passage of undigested material through the anus part of the digestive system is called as defecation. So in this way, the digestion process is completed. Normally, the human digestive system is very complex. One time we have to recall them. So first of all, the food is enter into our mouth. Next, it moves to the buccal cavity. Next, it moves to the pharynx. Then, food pipe or esophagus. Then it is moves to the stomach. Then it is moves to the duodenum part of the small intestine. Then smaller intestine. Then larger intestine. Then it moves to the rectum. Finally, anus. So this is the passage of food in alimentary canal. Normally, in our daily life, we eat different type of food materials according to our taste. And what health habits we should follow for the healthy digestive system. One is drink plenty of water. Daily you must drink 2 liters of water. So you want to increase your immunity, at least drink 3.5 to 4 liters of water. That is good for your health. And avoid the junk food. So nowadays most of the children, not only children, the elder one also habituate to eat the junk food. So the junk foods are good in taste, but they didn't have the proper amount of nutrients that are needed for our body requirement. So that are not good for our health. So potato chips that contains a higher amount of salt, that are also not good our health. French fries, pizzas, burgers, and so many other food substances. Not only that one, the soft drinks that contain highest amount of sugar, that also not good for our health. So all these food materials decrease our immunity, and we easily attacked by so many diseases. That's why we should avoid that junk food. Next, eat the fiber rich food. Our eating food must include dietary fiber. So the dietary fiber are rich in vegetables such as bitter gourd, ribbed gourd, shredded wheat, means nothing but pottu tiyani godumalu, or brown rice are good for our health. So if you want to maintain your good health, try to eat seasonal fruits and vegetables that are good for your health. Next one is, do not perform exercise after meals. Means nothing but when you finish your meal, take rest for a short period of time. So that is helpful for the good digestion. Next one is, always follow the regular bowel movements. So nowadays we are not taking the fiber rich food. It leads to that constipation process. Constipation problem means nothing but malabaddakam. It leads to that one, leads to gastric problems and indigestion, and some members also gain weight due to this process. So when you follow all these measures, we should easily maintain our good health. Next topic is malnutrition. Malnutrition means nothing but our eating food doesn't contain one or more nutrients in proper requirement or ratio is called as malnutrition. Nutrition in Telugu say poshana. Malnutrition means nothing but poshakahara lopam. So in India, most of the children are suffered from the malnutrition. Means nothing but they didn't get the nutrients in a proper ratio. So that's why they suffered from malnutrition. malnutrition. So what is malnutrition? Our eating food doesn't contain one nutrient or more than one nutrient in proper ratio is called as malnutrition. So different types of malnutrition diseases are there. The important one are Kwashiorkor disease. The second one is marasmus disease. So what are the characteristics of Kwashiorkor disease? So when proper proteins are not available in our diet, then we suffer from the Kwashiorkor disease. When proper proteins are not available in our diet, then we suffer from Kwashiorkor disease or malnutritional disease. So what are the symptoms? The persons are lean and weak, or the children are lean or weak. Mostly the children are suffered due to the malnutrition. So most of the children are lean and weak. అంటే బక్క పల్చగా ఉంటారు. And very poor muscle development. And fluffy face. మొహం ఉబ్బి ఉంటుంది. నెక్స్ట్ డ్రై స్కిన్, చర్మం రంగు కోల్పోవడం. దెన్ the children frequently suffer from diarrhea. So these are the symptoms of the Kwashiorkor disease. The next one is marasmus. If our diet doesn't contain both carbohydrates, nothing but calories, and proteins in appropriate ratio, then we suffer from the marasmus disease. So why most of the children are suffered due to the marasmus? One of the major reason is repeated childbirth. Actually, our government aim is nothing but every couple should have only 2 children, and you should maintain gap between the 2 children, at least 2 to 3 years. That is beneficial for both mother and infants. But the children who are born due to that repeated childbirth, they suffered from the marasmus. The symptoms are lean and weak, always shows tiredness, not interested in any activities, and limbs development is very slow. Limbs means nothing but both hands and legs developments are very weak, and diarrhea, dry skin are very common symptoms of marasmus. So these are the characteristics of the marasmus. Next topic we are discussing about the obesity. So especially the children who grow up in towns and cities, metropolitan cities, are habituated to eat the food that contains higher calories than the daily requirement. At that time, more calories are accumulated in our body. At that time, it leads to that obesity. Means nothing but the children gain more weight. So the junk food and oil-rich food are the main reason for the obesity. If the obesity problem is continuously going on, we should face the circulatory problems, high blood pressure, and even heart stroke and death also. That's why we should avoid the junk food. Next, we are discussing about that vitamins. Next, we are discussing about the vitamins. Vitamins are the micronutrients that are very essential for our body growth and development. Vitamins are classified into two types: water soluble vitamins and fat soluble vitamins. Okay, vitamins are micronutrients that are essential for our body growth and development. Vitamins are categorized into two types. One is water soluble vitamins. The next one is fat soluble vitamins. What are the examples for the water soluble vitamins? Vitamin B and vitamin C are water soluble vitamins, and vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K are fat soluble vitamin. Now we are discussing about the vitamin B complex. So vitamin B1, the scientific name of vitamin B1 is thiamine. What? Thiamine, vitamin B1. So it is abundantly present in cereals, vegetables, fish, eggs. If we suffer from the deficiency of vitamin B1 or thiamine, we get the disease beriberi, means nothing but always feel nausea, means nothing but vikaram, and a vomiting sensation. Okay, next vitamin B2, nothing but riboflavin. This is also present in the milk, fish, eggs and vegetables also. If our diet is lack in vitamin B2, nothing but riboflavin, we should suffer from the disease glossitis. Glossitis means nothing but mouth cracks at the corners. నోటిలో ఎర్రటి పొక్కులు రావడం. So that is called as nothing but glossitis. Next, vitamin B3, niacin. So it is also present in the liver, fish, kidney. The deficiency disease is nothing but pellagra, means nothing but skin diseases. What? Skin diseases means nothing but scaly skin, పొలుసుల్లాగా మారడం చర్మం. So this type of symptoms are very common in the pellagra. Next one is nothing but pyridoxine, that is called as vitamin B6. Cereals, vegetables, eggs are the sources of pyridoxine. Normally, if the pyridoxine is not available in diet, we should face anemia. Anemia means nothing but raktahinata. Next one is nothing but cyanocobalamin. Actually, this cyanocobalamin is synthesized in our stomach only. In our small intestine, a special type of bacteria are present that synthesize the cyanocobalamin. Suppose we face the deficiency of cyanocobalamin, we should suffer from the anemia. Next, B vitamin is folic acid. It is present in cereals, fruits, leafy vegetables. So folic acid is essential for our body growth and development. Otherwise, we should face pernicious anemia, means nothing but ತೀವ್ರ ರಕ್ತಹೀನತ. Especially women and girls are suffer from this folic acid. That's why the government also launched one program to distribute the folic acid tablets to the adolescent girls. Next one is nothing but pantothenic acid. So normally it is also one type of B vitamin. It is present in vegetables, sweet potatoes. If our diet lacks this pantothenic acid, we should face the problems of burning feet. Next, biotin, also one type of B vitamin. It is present in the pulses, leafy greens. If our diet not include this biotin, we should suffer from the nervous disorders. Means nothing but నరాలకు సంబంధించిన వ్యాధులు, మీన్స్ నథింగ్ బట్ నాడీ వ్యవస్థకు సంబంధించిన వ్యాధులు లైక్ ఫిట్స్ వి షుడ్ ఫేస్ ప్రాబ్లమ్. ఓకే, సో దిస్ ఇస్ అబౌట్ దట్ వన్ విటమిన్ కాంప్లెక్స్. నెక్స్ట్ విటమిన్ సి. ద కెమికల్ నేమ్ ఆర్ సైంటిఫిక్ నేమ్ ఆఫ్ విటమిన్ సి ఈస్ ascorbic acid. So the food resources are leafy greens, citrus fruits such as lemon, guava and orange, and sprouts, molecule. The deficiency disease is scurvy. What are the symptoms of this scurvy disease? Nothing but the wounds are not healed in a proper time. పుండ్లు గాయాలు త్వరగా మానవు. నెక్స్ట్ విటమిన్ ఏ. ద కెమికల్ నేమ్ ఈస్ రెటినాల్. వాట్? రెటినాల్. సో అవర్ ఎల్డర్స్ గివ్ అస్ అడ్వైస్ దట్ వి షుడ్ ఈట్ లీఫీ గ్రీన్స్ సచ్ యాజ్ స్పినాచ్, పాలకూర, అమరాన్, తోటకూర, అండ్ ద లీఫీ వెజిటబుల్స్ దట్ ఆర్ అవైలబుల్ in surroundings. So what is the importance of leafy greens? Means nothing but that contains vitamin, mineral, especially vitamin A percentage is very high in the leafy greens. Not only that, the food materials such as carrots, mango, papaya also includes the vitamin A. That's why we should eat them. What happens when we suffer from the deficiency of vitamin A? We should face the eye problems and skin problem, especially night blindness. Means nothing but రే చీకటి అంటే రాత్రి కళ్ళు సరిగా కనపడకపోవడం, నైట్ బ్లైండ్నెస్. అండ్ జిరాఫ్థాల్మియా మీన్స్ కంటిలో శుక్లాలు రావడం. And so many type of skin diseases. Next, vitamin D. So the vitamin D also very important for our bone development. Suppose we stand under the sunlight during the morning time, immediately our body can synthesize vitamin D with their own only. But the food sources such as egg, butter, cod liver oil, shark liver oil also contain the vitamin D. If the vitamin D is not available to us in sufficient amount, we face immunity problems. Not only that, we suffered from the rickets disease. Ricket means nothing but ఎముకలు తొందరగా విరగడం, బోన్ ఫ్రాక్చర్స్. ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్ విటమిన్ ఈ. ద కెమికల్ నేమ్ ఆఫ్ ది Vitamin E is tocopherol. Okay. Vitamin C chemical name is ascorbic acid. Vitamin A is retinol. Vitamin D is calciferol. Vitamin E is tocopherol. So it is abundantly present in fruits, sunflower, almonds, etc. If the deficiency occur, it leads to the fertility problems. Next, vitamin K, phylloquinone. It is abundantly present in leafy greens and fruits. If the deficiency occur, we observe that blood clotting problem. Means nothing but whenever we injured at the time, the blood clotting process is very late. If this process is late, we should observe severe bleeding. So to maintain our health, we should take proper amount of carbohydrate, proteins, fats, minerals, vitamins and water in appropriate proportions. Means nothing but indirectly, we should take a balanced diet. If we take balanced diet, that is good for our physical development. If our physical development is good, our mental development is also good. And our immunity power also increases. We can fight against many harmful diseases and dangerous diseases also, COVID also. So, stay at home, continue your study. Up to this, we complete our first chapter, nutrition. Thank you, children. Okay, you must read the key concept of this lesson once again.